Hello and good morning, and welcome to a tropical update from Cayman Hurricane Center. I'm Adam McDoom. This morning we are talking about Tropical Depression number 6 in the Gulf of Mexico. Tropical Depression number 6, previously Invest Area 98L, has now expanded itself into a tropical depression. Tropical Depression number 6 was located at 27.7 north, 83.5 west, or about 65 miles west-southwest of Tampa, Florida, or west-northwest of Sarasota, Florida. Max winds are 35 miles per hour. The depression is moving towards the east at 8 miles per hour. Minimum central pressure of 1,008 millibars. There are tropical storm watches that have been issued for the west coast of Florida from the Anacostia River southwards to Eaglewood. And this means that tropical storm conditions are possible within the watch area, in this particular case, within the next few hours. Overall, in the general forecast for this system, it's forecasted to generally move towards the east with a general turn towards the northeast and increase in forward speed as we get through tonight or on Tuesday. And the track of the center depression will move inland over central Florida Peninsula later today, move across central Florida through tonight, and is expected to move offshore east central Florida, more or less the Space Coast, by early Tuesday. So here is the depression here on satellite. As you can see, not really the best looking of tropical depressions. It is being sort of lightly sheared, and but overall, what really triggered the advisory was on radar. The circulation has definitely tightened up and looking a little bit more tropical. That's the reason of designation. Speaking of radar images, here is the latest radar image through Florida here, and you could definitely clearly see the circulation there tightening up just off of Tampa. Center circulation would be in this area here. Or let me slightly brighter color for that. So again, center circulation within here. Of course, with these sort of disorganized systems, usually the heaviest of convection isn't really necessarily within the center, but off away from the center, as you could see here in the bandings off to the east and south. So again, with the impacts, a lot of the heaviest of rains at the moment impacting areas such as Fort Myers, Naples, and this will continue to move towards the east and northeast, and areas in more central inland Florida, and then eventually the east coast of Florida will be impacted. So overall, even within the just the watch area, as you can see here, the tropical storm watches for here, despite that, areas such as through the Everglades City, Marcos Island, Naples, Bonita Springs, Cape Coral, Fort Myers, Port Charlotte, Sarasota, St. Petersburg, Largo, Clearwater, Tampa, Spring Hills, Lakeland, uh, all those areas throughout there and pushing east will be impacted by the system, whether by the gusty winds that it may have or the heavy downpours. Already, before the flooding has already occurred in Florida as the invest area was moving towards Florida, and this will continue out through the first part of this week. Also, major interstate highways that would likely be affected would be Interstate 75, Interstate 4, and obviously as this pushes on to the East Coast, Interstate 95 would be affected. And again, just running through the forecast models for this system, again, general eastward track with a northeast turn, and then riding up parallel the east coast of the United States. Again, the Space Coast, once it moves across central Florida and coming off to the east, Space Coast would be affected more or less anywhere from Daytona Beach, Port St. Lucie, even as far down as West Palm Beach would be affected by this system. So again, general idea with the rainfall, expected to produce total accumulations 2 to 4 inches through Monday night along the west coast of central Florida between Tampa Bay area and Naples, with isolated amounts up to 8 inches possible. Elsewhere across central South Florida, 1 to 2 inches of rain expected, with localized amounts up to 4. And again, tropical storm conditions are possible within the watch area through this afternoon. And talking about tropical storm potentials, just looking at the intensity guidance for Tropical Depression 6, it's sort of a bit 50-50 on whether or not it really gets up to tropical storm intensity, as you can see here, likely provided by a friend Levi Cowan over there at Tropical Tibbets. And here you could see, basically more or less a 50-50 split, tropical depression or up to tropical storm intensity. So it's an iffy, but what seems to be the case is that likely it probably won't be a tropical storm before making its landfall across Florida, which is expected to take place within this sort of time frame here. But beyond that point, once it does end up on the Atlantic side of Florida, there is that chance of it becoming tropical storm intensity beyond that point. And again, that point would be crossed here, be from generally this area onwards is when tropical storm intensity could most likely would happen, but not saying that tropical storm intensity before Florida will not happen. It's just very unlikely at this point. So again, areas in Florida, whatever preparation you can do, get them rushed to completion. Again, this depression is only hours away before making landfall, and either way, wind factor won't be much of an issue, but the rain factor will be an issue. And then, of course, the threat for some higher surf as well, especially on the Atlantic coast once this thing does start to intensify. So yeah, that's basically what we got at this point for this tropical depression. Other things to take note of in the Atlantic as well. We do have an area of interest noted by the National Hurricane Center out here in the south central main development region here. This system should push off towards the west, and interest in the Eastern Caribbean should monitor the situation on that. But there is also another area that is starting to pick up some interest over here, a tropical wave that National Hurricane Center may introduce to their outlook later today or sometime this week, as well as a few strong tropical waves that are coming off of Africa. And as it is, now we're leaving July and we're heading into August. This is the time of year that, you know, the switch has been flipped and the more active part of the Atlantic hurricane season usually starts up. So it will be areas that we will need to watch as well. Of course, obviously, the main area at the moment is Tropical Depression number 6 and its impacts towards Florida. Here's the wider picture overall. Let me zoom this in just a wee bit for you. So again, our main area is just off of Florida here. There we go. So again, main interest here in central South Florida with Tropical Depression number 6 as it moves on towards the east and northeast. Here is the other area of interest marked out by the National Hurricane Center. Not too great looking at this point. We'll have to wait and see what occurs. If anything, at the very least, rainfall for the Eastern Caribbean. And again, the other area that is somewhat picking up along here too. There are some models that do develop some of these areas out here over the coming week or so. We'll have to wait and see on how things do play out. Other than that, a few tropical waves, one across the Western Caribbean, across Central America, popping up a few thunderstorms here, interacting with the up-level trough that's associated with the frontal system that produced Tropical Depression number 6. And again, the tropical wave here, and a few more off of Africa. So that is it on this update. There will be another update on Tropical Depression number 6 a little later on today. And of course, an overall general tropical weather discussion as well to come later today. I'm Adam McDoom for Cayman Hurricane Center, and thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Come back soon.